Tennessee Titans fans, training camp officially started today. The Titans took the field and had practice. It is that time, ladies and gentlemen. But yesterday, GM Mike Borgonzi and whatever they're calling him, the vice president of operations or whatever, Chad Brinker, they did a press conference and they were asked a question that I can't even believe was asked. Can this team win a Super Bowl? That was asked. I'm going to play the clip for you here so you can hear their answer, and then I will discuss it because a lot of fans have been upset about this. Listen to this.
Last three questions right here, guys.
Simple question. The team you put on the field tomorrow, can that team win the Super Bowl?
Listen, that's always the goal every year. Yeah. We also realize we have a lot of work to do on this roster.
Last two, go ahead. Last three questions right here, guys.
So there you go. First of all, you had a little chuckling, laughter from Chad Brinker. Maybe laughing at just the absurdity of a question like that in July. Knowing that this team was 3-14 last year, and you're asking about, it makes me think of the clip of the coach, playoffs, Super Bowl. You talking about Super Bowl? We're just trying to have a few more wins this year. But you heard Mike Borgonzi, who said that's obviously the goal every year, but we also understand that this roster's got a long way to go. A lot of Titans fans were upset with this response. I don't understand why. Because I'm going to just go ahead and tell you, I don't know what else these two were supposed to say. Obviously, everybody wants to win the Super Bowl, right? Every fan of every team, when you go into the season, that's the ultimate goal. The ultimate hope is to do what the Eagles did last year and win the Super Bowl. That's what we all want to see. So, of course, you're not going to say no, this team can't win a Super Bowl, because you're going to try. You're always going to try. You know, you can say, well, we're just rebuilding, but if you go out there and you start winning, and you like Washington last year, I bet Washington didn't go into the season thinking, we're trying to contend for a Super Bowl this year. But when things started going well, and out of nowhere, they're in the playoffs, then they're in the next round, then they're in the next round. Now they're one win away from the Super Bowl. Well, by goodness, may as well. We're here, right? So that's ultimately always in the back of your mind. But also, I like the fact that Mike Borgonzi kept it realistic and admitted, hey, this roster needs a lot of work. We're overhauling the roster. We got a lot of young guys, and we do. Linebacker position stands out. You're going to need young guys to step up. Edge rush, big time. You got a new franchise quarterback in town that you just picked number 1 overall. He's got to step up. You've got some young receivers and tight ends. You've got young guys on the offensive line. You've got a lot of young players that are going to have to pan out. So it would be reckless for Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker to set up there in front of everybody and say, we're going to the Super Bowl. We're trying to win a Super Bowl. Like, if they did that, we would all be sitting here like, why'd you say that? Why'd you say that? Doesn't mean they're not going to try. Doesn't mean they're not going to try to be as good as possible. But considering where we're at with the roster, you can't set up there and say, yes, this team, this roster as it is right now is set to win a Super Bowl. But you got to walk a fine line, because you also can't say no. We ain't winning no Super Bowl this year. You can't say that either, especially new GM. But you can toe the line. You can say, hey, it's always the goal. You're always going to try to be as good as possible. You're always going to try to win as many games as you possibly can. But also, this roster needs a lot of work. We got a lot of young guys. We just want to get better. I think what you are seeing, and this may not be the most popular thing, but you are seeing a very patient, a very calculated, a very take your time approach to the Titans being good. You can see the moves they made this offseason. They weren't trying to swing for the fences like Rand Carthon did last offseason, when he signed Calvin Ridley and traded for L'Jarius Sneed and signed Tyler Boyd and signed all of these people. How did that work out? 3-14. It got us nowhere. It took us backwards. So that didn't work. So now we've got to draft good players. We've got to build this roster up from within. That Rome's not built in a day. That's not something you can just do overnight. You can try to be as good as possible. You can try to address as many things as possible. But when you're bringing in guys like Xavier Woods and Dan Moore, Kevin Zeitler, Tyler Lockett, Van Jefferson, when these are the guys you're bringing in who are veterans, who are reliable, but it's not like going to make headlines. They're not doing a segment about how the Titans picked up Van Jefferson off free agency. You are pretty much saying, hey, we want to lay building blocks. We want to build a culture. We want to see Cam Ward be put in as good of a position as he can. And we want to be as good as we possibly can without being too aggressive that we jeopardize our future. That's the key. We all want to win now. We all want as soon as possible. We all want this team to get back to playing playoff football as soon as humanly possible. And they're going to try. I'm not going to say they're going to come out and intentionally lose games, but they're going to be realistic. And they're going to say, hey, there might be growing pains. It might not be exactly what you want it to be this year. Maybe it'll be Washington. Maybe it'll be Houston. Maybe it'll be one of those situations from the last couple of years where a team goes from zero to hero in no time flat, right? But maybe we'll go from being a 3-win team to being a 6-win team, and that would be considered improvement. Maybe we'll be more competitive even in losses. Maybe Cam Ward will get better and better and better as the season goes on, and even if we're at the end and we look up and we're 6-11 or 7-10, Cam Ward's been better all year, so we can walk away into the next offseason feeling good. There are different ways to have a successful season this season. And so I am not offended at all at Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker sitting up there and saying, hey, listen, every team wants to win the Super Bowl. Every team wants to contend for the Super Bowl. That's our goal. We're going to try to be as good as we possibly can, but we also recognize that this roster is not where it needs to be right now, and we're going to try to fill holes as best we can right now, and we're going to be wise about it. We're not going to break the bank. We're not going to jeopardize our future. We're going to try to be as good as we can right now without being too aggressive, because we want to build through the draft. We want to build from within, and you can only draft so many players every offseason. So, with that being said, regardless of record this season, look to Cam Ward. Look to Alec Iomenor. Look to Chim Dike, Gunnar Helm. Look to Tavondre Sweat, Cedric Gray, James Williams, Jarvis Brownlee, Kevin Winston. Look to these guys, Femi Oladejo, and look to them to play well, because regardless of the record this season, regardless if the Titans go on a miracle run or not, you need these guys going in the right direction as you look to the future. But I'm not offended by Mike Borgonzi's answer to that question, and I'm not offended by Chad Brinker kind of laughing about it, because it is kind of an absurd question to ask in July. This team that went 3-14 last year, are they going to contend for the Super Bowl? Wow. I think we can all agree that's shooting for the stars. Talk to me in the comments. Tighten up.